Hello everyone, welcome to the online classes of Gopalswamy Independent PU College, Mysore. I am Suma, Economics lecturer. In today's session of First PUC Economics, let us discuss about the other topics of the lesson infrastructure. In previous session, we learnt that there are two important types of infrastructure, and the first one is economic infrastructure, second one is social infrastructure. Today, let us discuss about the topics related to the energy sector, a major component under the economic infrastructure. The economic infrastructure has three major components, as well as the social infrastructure also has three major components. The three major components of economic infrastructure are energy, transportation and communication. Under social infrastructure, the three major components are health, education and housing. In your previous lesson of human capital formation, you all learned that these two are the major components for the conversion of a human into human capital. That is, with proper and good health as well as necessary qualification, necessary education, any human can convert himself to human capital along with some additional skills and training. In your previous lessons of rural development, poverty and also the human capital formation, you all learnt that how important are these economic infrastructure as well as the social infrastructure for the development of any country. You can remember this as there are three popular components of the minimum basic needs like roti, kapda or makan. Like that only you can retain this in your mind, that is for economic infrastructure, energy, transportation and communication, and for social infrastructure, health, education and housing. So, this energy is a very important component. The contribution of transportation is now replaced by industries to the GDP of our country, because today being even though 75% of our population is either directly or indirectly dependent on agriculture and allied activities, it is still lagging behind in its contribution to the GDP because of its low productivity and unscientific methods of cultivation, wherein this is now replaced by industries. Today the industrial growth is enormous and it is contributing to a major portion for the economic development of our country, and this is even replacing the transportation sector, which was earlier a major contributing sector for the GDP of our country. Therefore, let us see about the importance of energy today. Energy is very important because energy is the key source for the economical progress, because you all have heard about the saying of Sir M. Bharata Ratna Sir M. Vishweshwaraya. He said that industrialize or perish, and it is his popular saying because if we have to grow economically, we have to industrialize our country. If more and more opportunities of development of industries are undertaken, then more and more creation of employment opportunities will also be found. Therefore, if there is an opportunity to establish any industry in any of the areas in our country, better to establish it, because it supplies the necessary economical ingredients to the nearby people by providing employment opportunities, as well as even it helps the linkages of production, because it helps another auxiliary industries also to establish in the nearby locations, so that people will engage in contributing to the GDP of our country. Now let us see about the division of energy resources. They are categorized into three types. The first one is commercial and non-commercial sources of energy. The second category divides it into conventional sources of energy as well as non-conventional sources of energy, and again they are categorized into primary sources of energy as well as final sources of energy. Let us discuss one by one. This commercial sources of energy says you that, as the name itself says, these commercial sources of energy command price. We have to pay for it. The users has to buy it after paying the amount fixed for it, and then only they can purchase it. So, very good example for this is electricity, coal, because we have to purchase the electricity by paying some amount so that it can help us in performing all the regular activities. Therefore, the commercial sources of energy are very important, and they are contributing a lot in these days. Commercial sources of energy are again, they are exhaustible. They are exhaustible in nature and they are not available abundantly. We have to convert the input into output to obtain the output of electricity. Maybe it is the thermal power or hydel power or the nuclear power. Today there are lots of different sources of energy have been emerged and they are under practice, and we will discuss about it later. The second one is non-commercial sources of energy. These are available in the nature free of cost, and they are the cow dung and also the firewoods and all these. So, these non-commercial sources of energy are the firewood, cow dung and also the crop residues and also the agricultural waste, and these are inexhaustible. They are available abundantly in nature and they can be made use for the generation of power. And the next one is conventional sources of energy. Again, these are available by the nature free of cost, and these are in practice from the good old period of time. It is in usage over a longer period of time, and people from the good old time they are making use of this, and they cause pollution also, and it is not that environment friendly. The next one is non-conventional sources of energy. These non-conventional sources of energy are in practice over the last few decades, because earlier we were using only the conventional sources of energy, and as the science and technology has improved, we started practicing the usage of solar energy, windmill, tidal power, etc. So, all these are the examples for the non-conventional sources of energy: solar energy, windmill, tidal power, and all these biogas and the gobar gas, all these are the non-conventional sources of energy. Energy is categorized in another two ways. The first one is primary sources of energy and the second one is final sources of energy. Primary sources of energy are those which are available in nature and they are available with free of cost, and these primary sources of energy are again the cow dung, agricultural waste, crop residues and the firewood. They are available in the nature and the usage is now being reduced due to various reasons. The second one is final sources of energy. These final sources of energy are nothing but the conversion of an input into an output. Like this, water is converted into electricity through hydel power, that is we call it as hydel power. Water is the input, and when it is used to generate electricity through the turbines and they generate electricity, and these are the final sources of energy. Today these final sources of energy are highly dependent by this generation. Today people are highly dependent on these final sources of energy because they are easily available and they can be paid for and they can be made use of it. Generation of energy out of these final sources is also easy compared to the conventional sources. The next one is here, out of the total electricity that is generated in our country, 71% of the electricity that is generated is by the thermal power. You all know that thermal power plants are there everywhere around our country, and the chief ingredient or the input to produce electricity here is coal. Again, one type of energy is generated through the source of another type of energy. You all know that how difficult it is to obtain coal. Millions of years are taken for the formation of coal. coal, and it is not available as frequently as all the products are available in market. Coal is a commercial source of energy. It is available in the trading activity in our market, but it is not generated as easily and as early as it is consumed. Therefore, it is a very costly source of energy also. Out of the total capacity of the electricity generation of our country, 71% of electricity is generated through the thermal power and 28% is generated through the hydel power, and 1% is only generated through nuclear power. This is very important information because we are highly dependent on the coal only for the generation of electricity through thermal power plants. So, nuclear energy is very rarely used and it is very risky also, because once if it explodes, it has the capacity of spoiling the areas. Therefore, these three are the major components for the generation of electricity. So, you all know that coal is not available in nature abundantly, but then also it is highly dependent by our industries also. For most of the industries, coal is the chief raw material for the conversion of raw materials into finished products, and again it is not available abundantly, and therefore industrial productivity is also reducing. The next one is total power generation capacity of India. A simple analysis, that is at the time of independence, that is in the year 1947, India had a capacity of producing 1362 megawatts of electricity. In the year 2019, we had a capacity of generation of electricity of 414.10 gigawatts, and the per capita consumption of electricity is also like this, that is the per capita consumption was in the year 1947 it was 16.3 units, and now in the year 2019 it is increased to 1181 units. Out of the total power consumption of our country, 74% is contributed by the commercial sources of energy and 26% is contributed by non-conventional sources of energy. Industry, though being the highly power intensive sector, is also facing the shortage of electricity because of the lack of generation of electricity. India is the third largest producer as well as consumer of electricity. In India, different sources of energy is converted into a common unit and it is referred as MTOE, that is million ton of oil equivalent. So, this is very important, and through this only we measure the power consumption capacity and it is compared from year to year, so that we obtain the necessary data for the generation of electricity and also about the other components of this electricity. In India, power generation plants are established extensively to satisfy the needs of this population, because a country with one such huge population needs extensive generation of the power to meet the demands of the power as well as to find growth in terms of economy. The first one is the three major power generation plants are the coal and gas as well as diesel. Gas is, that is LPG. Let us see about the data related to the energy consumption in India. Coal is consumed for 55.88% and it is majorly used in the industries as well as in the geothermal power plants. Next one is usage of crude oil. 29.55% of the crude oil is used in our country. Nuclear energy is used for 1.09% as well as hydroelectricity is contributing 3.9% of the power consumption, and also the consumption of energy in terms of renewable power is only 3.40%. If we go on consuming the exhaustive non-fungible energies like petrol and diesel in this rate, definitely within next 60 to 80 years it will be completely exhausted, and again humans should be totally dependent on the non-conventional sources of energy, particularly the solar energy. Solar energy is very important, and it is the order of the next decades, because everywhere solar panels are found in the near future, and solar is the key source of energy for our country in future. Because of the strategical location of India, also its geographical location facilitates it to obtain power through solar energy in all the 12 months of the year. The God Sun is not demanding us any money, because today I have given you so and so energy, and so for that you have converted all that into the economical uses, you have to pay to me so and so money. No, he is not demanding us any money. Only thing is the installation charges for the solar panels are costly, and there is zero maintenance cost. If once the solar panels are fixed and as installed, then we can generate electricity out of these panels over a period of time. In China, major portion of the power consumption is done through solar energy only. There it has installed the solar panels over a distance of kilometers away, and when once the installation charges are met with, then continuously it meets the demand of power. Therefore, in India also the extensive usage of the solar energy must be done, and in future we obtain the energy only through the solar power. And because of that solar power only, today you can see lots of the power consumption is being done. So, now let us see about the sectoral share of energy consumption in India. You all saw the energy consumption pattern in India by its ingredients, by the inputs of it. Let us see what are all the share of the different sectors in the energy consumption of our country. The first one is industries consume 37.8% of energy. 37.8% of energy is consumed by industries. Transportation has been replaced by industries. Earlier, prior to this, transportation sector was consuming a major portion of energy, but now it is replaced by industries, because India is establishing a greater number of industries, and they are all dependent on the power only. The next one is transportation sector consumes 22% of the total energy that is generated in our country. Agricultural area consumes only 21.9% of the total energy produced in our country, as well as household consume the 24.3% of energy in our country. In many areas of our country, even today also we can see the rural women are using the cow dungs and crop residues for their energy needs, because most of the villages in our country are yet to be electrified, and this is being done through the Deen Dayal Upadhyaya Gramajyoti Yojana of the central government, and this project is facilitating almost all the remote corners of our country with its electrification projects. So therefore today we are finding the electricity available everywhere, and this is not used in a productive way. The power is not extensively used in the agricultural activities, and therefore there is a lower productivity of agricultural activities in our country. Let us discuss about the challenges faced by the power sector in our country. The first one is there is a severe shortage of power generation in our country. To meet the demand of one such huge population of our country, there is a severe shortage of power generation, because there is a greater disproportion between the demand and supply of electricity in this country. In spite of that also, we are the third largest producer and the consumers of power. In spite of that also, our country is performing well in terms of industrial progress, and our GDP is galloping, and today we are being identified as the third largest economy in the world. And the second one is inadequate generation. Even though we have the capacity of producing electricity through different water resources around the country, the generation is inadequate because the installation of these hydroelectric power plants involve huge costs, and there should be private participation because the government itself only cannot invest complete amount that is required for the installation of hydroelectric power plants. If the energy resources are obtained through the hydroelectric power plants with the available water resources in our country extensively, then complete demand for electricity can be met only by this hydropower itself. Then the less capacity utilization, we call it as plant load factor. Plant load factor is the underutilization of the installed capacity of electricity. Here, if the power generation plant has an installed capacity of 1000 megawatts, only 600 megawatts are used out of it, and rest of the 400 megawatts are unused, and this we call as the plant load factor. That is, in most of the cases the power that is generated will not be used and it will be wasted. And the next one is transmission and distribution losses. This contributes a major portion to the wastage of electricity. This is popularly known as the T&D losses because of the improper wiring and inadequate technical knowledge, and also due to different reasons the loss of electricity is being done. In some of the areas the theft of electricity is also being done, and illegal connection of electricity is also taken, and those who are getting this are not paying to the government, and again the government is incurring losses. And also the loss that is incurred by the state electricity boards. In our country, every state has the electricity board, and most of the electricity boards of different governments of our country are suffering from continuous losses, and again this is owing to different types of reasons that are existing in those particular regions. And the last one is shortage of coal to generate the thermal power. Generation of coal is not as speedy and fast when compared to its consumption, and therefore there is a greater shortage of coal also here. And now let's discuss about the remedies for it. The encouragement of private participation, because India with the largest population like this can only be found additional generation of the power can be done with the help of private participation only. There are lots of foreign direct investments are coming into our country, and also many NRIs, the non-resident Indians, are willing to invest in the industries related to the power generation of our country. Many foreign institutional investors are investing, and in spite of that also there is a severe shortage in the generation of electricity. The next one is lots of research and development activities should be undertaken furthermore for the generation of non-conventional resources of energy like solar power, windmills and the tidal power. Lots of water is available. India is surrounded with 7,565 kilometers of coastline, and all the water that is available in the coastline can be converted into tidal power, and so that we can generate electricity. But lots of research and development activities should be foregone for this. Next one is increasing the production capacity. That is, again through the help of non-conventional sources of energy, we have to increase the production of the power generation, and then only we can meet the demands of this power. The next one is minimizing the T&D losses. As I said, the transmission and distribution losses are the biggest challenge for our country, for our governments to handle. So we have to minimize this through proper monitoring skills. The next one is encouraging the use of CFL and LED bulbs so that they consume the electricity at a lesser rate, and therefore we have to encourage that also. So therefore in our country, to meet the demands of the power with the available supply, it is very difficult, and therefore we are even hiring it. India's energy policy encourages only two resources, that is the hydel power and wind power, because this hydel tidal power as well as wind power are not dependent on the fossil fuels, which are very difficult to obtain in nature. Therefore, India's energy policy encourages the windmills everywhere around the country, in top hill stations and also in the upper plateaus. You can see the installation of windmills and the power is generated out of these windmills. So therefore, all these non-conventional sources of energy like solar, windmill and tidal power only are giving lots of hope to our country in the generation of power in future years. You all know coal is the chief source of energy that is consumed in our country, and as on 2016 we consumed 966 million tons of coal as against 95 million tons of coal in the year 1980. So you can see that such a enormous and huge growth in the area of the usage of coal is done in our country, and we are all highly dependent on the Gulf countries for the sources of power like oil, crude oil, and it is going to be exhausted within a shorter period of 60 to 80 years, and again it is difficult for us to depend on the Gulf countries only, and we have to find our own sources of energy, and in that solar energy is a very important source of energy and it is very promising for the next generation. The growth rate of demand for power is greater than the growth rate of GDP, and India with such a greater demand for it is finding it very difficult to generate this power to meet the demands of our country. Gujarat is the largest electricity producer in our country, followed by Maharashtra and Andhra Pradesh. So, most of the research and innovation activities in these days are undertaken in this area too, so that India can have Atmanirbhar Bharat. We can be self-sustainant in terms of production of power. So, with this I conclude this session. Thank you.